Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Klotz, who's getting a water, and Gentry. It is Wednesday, July 24th. We appreciate all you for tuning in. We got a packed show, a lot of training camp to get to. I mean, we have all this news. J-Mo playing well. Dan Campbell. The boys are back. Dan Campbell with the quotables. He's a walking quote. He had some quotables today. John Maakaron will be joining Wednesday. We got a lot to get to training camp regarding Lions training camp. But before we get to any of that, we're going to address the obvious. All right. A lot of people in the chat. There's no memberships. Okay. And I'll explain a little comical. All right. Also not comical. And I'll share both sides. All right. Partially.
Put a lot of fires out. Put some
fires out. And you know, you guys have kind of went on this journey with us since we started. And, you know, it's been all up. We've been having a lot of fun. We've been growing. You know, people have been supporting us. It's been the best. We faced some adversity. All right. Definitely some adversity. You know.
Trouble has hit home.
Yeah. And trouble's hit home.
Part of life, man. Dan Campbell. You hit bumps, you find a way to get through them. Find a way.
So basically what happened was, you know what? I will take responsibility because
I'll take 50.
No. I'll take it because YouTube is kind of my forte. I've taken control of YouTube. And, you know, we've been posting reels and other content that isn't necessarily ours, but content that we wanted to share with people because we wanted to be an outlet. What we didn't realize is YouTube is not like Instagram, is not like Twitter, it's not like Facebook, to where if you share content that isn't created directly by you, they will, without warning, demonetize your entire channel. So we are demonetized. Yes, it stinks. We submitted a appeal to try and get that reversed, so we can make a video we can make money off YouTube and be profitable. Yeah, but we're waiting on that. So memberships are cut off. No membership. They're paused. So people that pay for memberships, it will pause until we kind of get a solution, which will either be we get the appeal gets accepted and everyone gets memberships and we're back, or B, we have to wait till October to reapply. So yeah,
October 20th. Like it's a bit of a. It's a big a journey.
Time, man.
And to answer that guy up north is because of the Laporta vid yesterday. No, I'm going to be honest. It probably was because of the Jared Goff going undercover on that.
Jeff, I'm going to cut you off there. You're saying too much. We put an appeal in. You're saying too much. I'm cutting you off. Your lawyer, I'm saying
Jeff needs a lawyer.
Stop talking right now, brother. Stop talking.
Hey,
oh, jeez.
He's like, hey, calm down. This is what I'm trying to say here.
Hey, well, here's the thing.
YouTube, hey,
YouTube is being a little, you know, hey, they accusing us what we may have or may not have done. Is that better?
Yeah. And I would say off not that much evidence either. I mean, go look at our page. There's not that much.
Nothing on our page. We don't know.
The jury would throw this case out. You know,
some would say, you know what this could be? I think Mike Florio probably heard us chirping and he didn't really like that much. And he probably hit up the YouTube execs. You know, he's out there in California with YouTube. I think he could have pulled some strings being a Vikings fan, also hearing the negative not PFF, but PFT and just the narrative we have around him. Possibly PFF. We dog PFF a lot. They probably don't like the narrative we have going on.
You know what? And we did. We went through our channel, fixed all that we may or may not have been accused of. But it doesn't matter what we did. It's about what YouTube thinks we did, and they don't care. They don't give you a warning. They just say, "Hey, buddy, you're demonetized."
No strikes, no warnings, no nothing.
No
they
warning.
just said, hey, your channel is down. Not down. Luckily, we get to still do the show. I told Jeff today. I said, hey. Good news is we still have our YouTube page. We could do our show every day. We're still going to be going on. We're doing pregame. We're doing everything. We're still rolling as normal. But obviously, now we won't be getting paid through YouTube. So there are going to be, I'm going to say this. Jeff, should I tell the people?
Yeah, let them know, Boone. Let them know.
There are just so you guys know, and this was going to happen eventually, not as to an extreme point that we wanted it to happen, because we do know you guys support us, and we could make money through YouTube and different aspects through this platform. We will have in the next month or so, we are going to start having some sponsorships and advertisements, things like that pop up. It's going to, we're not doing anything through YouTube anymore, obviously, for the at least a couple weeks or maybe a couple months. So we are going to start getting sponsorships, ads. There may be some ad reads, some commercials, some things. This is us being great people, because we love the people. Booner the Path 2024. I'm a man of the people. We are giving you guys a heads up before we start doing a commercial here and there, and you guys are like, oh my gosh, the other place does commercials. Like, hey, we're trying to make this, and I'm going to be transparent with the people. We're trying to make this so we can all do this full time, and we can give everyone content full time here in Detroit. And we have to figure out a way to do it and get and make money doing it. So we're in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to start kind of going through that. The sponsorships, advertising things before the football season starts, getting our show sponsored and do commercials and ad reads and bottom bars, and all of that. And as well as when we do pregame shows in Detroit, all of those places, we're getting everything. We're going to start getting all of that stuff sponsored. And we're turning into a business.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Boone. That's what you were saying to me before the show too. It's like it forces our hand to be a little bit more businessman now. Like merch, another one. I know me and BMG were talking a little bit before the show as well today. R.I.P. BMG. Don't know where he's at. He'll be here soon, I'm sure. But merch, we're up in that too. The marketing, everything. So yeah, it's a little bump in the road, fellas. We're in it for the long haul. This little whatever monetization strike they have us on, it's fine, but they can't keep us locked down. I know we talked to like Patreon. We'll get some stuff going on there, like some clips, especially like during the season, like man on the street stuff, like Booner. We can put some of your clips on there from the Booner streams when you're doing Booner Campbell. Like there's a lot of stuff we can do on there as well, just in our free time, be creative, give more content to the people. Yeah, it might be a little bit more money, but that's why we're being openly transparent and why we're like, all right, this is why we're doing it now. So
yeah,
definitely
it's
worthwhile.
It's just some adversity. I know people are like, oh, do GoFundMe, and I appreciate the support. We're more focused on just being like, you know what? Some adversity, we fight through it. We're going to keep doing everything. Nothing changes content-wise. We're live every day, videos every day. We have shorts. Socials are the same. It's just, hey, we're not monetized, so it may be a little beneficial. You don't have ads to I don't think there's ads anymore on the stream, but that's okay. We do this. Yes, money is a part of it, but the other part of it is because we love to do it. So hey, they always say, boys, you do something in life, you pursue something that you will do for free. And for on YouTube, at least, we're doing this for free. All right, for a couple.
We
months
are. It's going to be for a couple weeks because we got sponsorships and some ad deals coming through, and people.
I'm talking about just from YouTube. YouTube,
boys,
company YouTube, they are not paying us till October. If this appeal doesn't get accepted, so hey, screw that. Training camp's here.
Let's have a show.
Hey, we got a show. We're you know what? Let's lock in. All right. And I appreciate the concern.
For the love of the game, boys.
There's nothing you guys can do. It's YouTube. I'm we'll figure it out. But for right now, let's focus on football. Let's focus on content. And YouTube, get your head out of your ass. All right. I'll just say that. But like I said,
I'm seeing some comments. I'm seeing some comments of people who it might be, who it might not be, who it might be, who it might not be. I don't know. Can't confirm nor deny. Maybe we got reported. Who knows?
Some conspiracies, you never know with the conspiracies. But hey, speaking of that, someone's doing a game show today, playing some NCAA college football. It's odd how that works right when we do it. But what I will say is Dan Campbell, he
pretty ironic too.
Spoke to the media, and he had some quotables. He mentioned the path. He mentioned the path, Boone, at least a path. And we'll get to that, but let's play some of what he said today in some of his press conferences, and then we'll give our thoughts, and we'll get to the Booner Path quote as well. But here's probably the number one bar to me. I want to make sure I get this on the screen so we can play it
real quick. Can I just never mind.
You're blushing, Boone. You're blushing.
No, I am for this. I am for this. Hey. Hey, I'll tell you what, you guys thought the Booner path wasn't real. You guys thought, oh, Booner, you have such a bad mindset. You don't know what you're talking about. You get on that mic every day for the last 2 years and you don't know what you're talking. No, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm saying. I know everything. Everything is very, very, as Dan Campbell would say, everything is very, very strategized. We know what we're doing here. We do things for a reason, about grit, all these different things. Guess what? Dan Campbell, Booner, we are on the same exact page here when it comes to the Detroit Lions. There's one goal in mind. There's been one goal in the mind for the last 2 years. And Dan Campbell is exactly like, we're on the same wavelength when it comes to it.
Lion Syndicate, he says you will most likely not win the appeal. It's happened before to people I know. Stay away from shorts. Well, Lion Syndicate, I appreciate you, brother. Fuck the shorts. Focus on the content. And I appreciate the guys, all the support we've had, man. It's awesome. We appreciate you guys. We'll figure it out with you too.
Lion Syndicate.
Content, don't stop, baby. Let's get to Dan Campbell, what he said today. Man was spitting some bars, so let's hear directly from Dan Campbell. Here it is.
And it's all about the work. We don't live off reputation. We live off of work. And that's what's gotten us where we're at. It's been a long, hard road to get to where we're at right now. And there's a price to be paid. And so we got to go pay it again. That's the message. And it'll always be the message. And it's all about the work.
He said all about the work. What was the quotable? He said, we don't live off reputation. We live off work.
Yeah.
I like the part at the end too, where the price has got to be paid and it's time to pay up again. There's like three separate. He went on a little trifecta there. Go ahead, though, Boone. Go ahead.
I just say I think with Dave Campbell, when he has his off season, he goes on these vacations to Nantucket, wherever he goes. He probably doesn't go to Nantucket. He probably goes to like Texas to a ranch or something. And he goes out there and he sits down on a porch swing. And he comes up with these quotes. I don't know if they just come out or he comes up with these, but this man shows up every single year, whether it's the first training camp introduction or if it's just like a normal game. And this man just has just quotes that just fall out of him. And he literally, what he puts out, the content he puts out without meaning to is unbelievable. I love listening to Dan Campbell speak. And the fact that he comes in today, and I don't know if you guys get the same feeling, but every time when I was posting some videos this morning, and watching Dan Campbell speak, he might be the most motivating coach in all of sports. This guy literally, just knows how to keep guys just grounded. You just almost went to a Super Bowl. You have so many young players on your team. You have young players coming in, rookies coming in who think I'm going to the Detroit Lions. We're going to go win a Super Bowl this year. And Dan Campbell told the story about going 12-4 to 7-8 or 7-9. And this man came in just no, I'm not. From when we were 3-13, I had that same mindset from when we were 3-13. We're coming into work. And I missed one of the things the last 5 months that I missed, or 6 months, was Dan Campbell speaking, because this man makes me want to, the things that we went through today, I don't even care. I'll run through a wall right now. We're about to come out even greater out of the other side of it. And that's how I feel like Dan Campbell motivates his football teams, listening to him talk. I love this man. You guys not having him, and actually, I don't mean to put this on you guys, as a top 5 coach in the NFL. Wild, dude. This man is the most motivating NFL head coach in right now. Andy Reid's probably one of the best head coach in the NFL altogether. You've got all these different coaches that can do that. Dan Campbell's the most motivating head coach in the NFL. No one can say anything about it. People, oh my gosh, I can't. We watch him on TV and we get motivated for things he said.
That's pro sports. I think in general, I know the NBA gets brought up a lot. It's those guys even coaching. I mean, you're just out there, you're motivating. Yeah, schematics matter. But in the NFL, schematically, things matter more, I would argue, than the NBA. But on top of that, you just need a coach. I mean, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars to go play basically a kid's game, and a game that they're very, very good at. You just need to motivate these guys. I mean, they show up, they play a long physical season, they deal with injuries consistently. As much as you want your coach to be smart, you need a coach that can get these guys motivated every single day. And not just that, but keep guys bought in. Have a refreshing message. And Amon-Ra spoke about this, I think, on the Pivot. But Dan Campbell's one of those coaches that no matter how many times he gives one of his speech or he has one of these quotables, even as media, we're still shocked every time we hear a Dan Campbell quote. We're where did he get this one from? I mean, he is constantly cooking, and I think that's what makes Dan Campbell so great is he's authentic, and he's one hell of a motivator. Especially to grown men who get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. They have that old school mentality, which nowadays is harder when guys are making, especially quarterbacks now, but guys making a boatload of money. So shout out to Dan Campbell. He's special.
Yeah, especially when you think about where he started day one and how he was mocked at his press conference day one. And you look now, flash forward 4 years, there's teams around the NFL that are restarting their rebuild, and they're trying to find their Dan Campbell. We're not taking away from what Dan Campbell does schematically, but to Booner's point, without a doubt, the best motivator in football. Now you see these guys that are defensive head coaches like Raheem Morris and D'Amico Ryans, who are definitely smart head coaches at their defensive side, but they're more motivators. So you see Dan Campbell going for it on fourth down. League starting to copy that. Dan Campbell, motivational guy that's really trying to bind the locker room together, and he has a good assistant, just like a lot of head coaches do, but he is a guy that can lead a locker room, and I think it's going to be a direction that the NFL turns, because you look at like a guy like Dan Campbell. He doesn't have the brains of a guy like Mike McDaniel, but when you talk about commanding a locker room, that's why I think it's so important, because if you have the pieces, that's fine, but if those pieces aren't willing to go out there and put their body on the line every week for you, you're not going to be winning a Super Bowl, and I think that's where Dan Campbell separates this locker room for a lot of other locker rooms.
Hey, the best thing about Dan Campbell too is like there's these coaches who they will sit there and they'll baby players and they'll like, oh, you're okay, or things good. Like they want to make players happy. Dan Campbell's the complete opposite. He's going to go out there and say, hey, you're doing up downs, you're doing this, you're doing that. If you don't like it, go to a different franchise. And I think the fact that he's so straight up, and like you hear him in this press conference, like I'm holding guys to expectations, the same standards when we were bad. Like we're working. We're here to work. This is about grit. And he came in, started that expectation from day one, built the culture from day one. He set a culture. He set a standard. It's him doing the down-ups, him doing all of that. And like players can't look at him and be like, if you're getting overworked or you feel like, hey, he'll look back at you and be like, do you want to win a Super Bowl? Do you want to be great? Then you have nothing to say. And other coaches are scared to do that. You know who it's funny, and I think this is funny to talk about, is Robert Saleh over in New York. Robert Saleh, when he was with the 49ers, remember when he was with the 49ers? He was a dog like Dan Campbell. And everyone wanted Robert Saleh because Robert Saleh was like Dan Campbell. And he was the guy that wanted to bite kneecaps with Dan Campbell. And he would scream at people and jump around. And then look what happened with him. He's no one cares about him in New York anymore. He's going to get fired at the end of this year if they don't win 11 games. Like, and he's just kind of he's lost all of that. Dan Campbell, like that's why I think he's one of the greatest in the NFL, and one of the greatest coaches on the planet right now is because this man expects greatness and he doesn't take anything less. And he would rather move on from a star player than sit there and have someone come into the building and not do it. And like his press conference today, like if you guys haven't watched it, when our show's done today, or we're actually no, stay here because we're playing clips. We're playing clips.
Yeah, we'll play one in a second. And just to speak on Robert Saleh, like that's why what I said earlier, I mean, a message that not only a coach like Dan can deliver, but guys buy into. There's times where, and you see it, this coaches lose the locker room, and that said coach is fired. Dan Campbell, even when they were 1-6 after winning, 3 games, he did not lose the locker room. Did not lose. Those guys were bought in. That is so hard to do. Even Robert Saleh, who's had a more talented roster without a quarterback now, they got Aaron Rodgers, but still, like his voice, hey, it's running out. You know, like he's on the hot seat. Even a guy like Robert Saleh, who's kind of in that he's a motivational coach, defensive minded. Dan Campbell, offensive minded, motivational coach. It doesn't matter if your voice wears out, you're screwed. And Dan, even I know they went to the NFC Championship game, but even before that, did not wear out, and especially for reasons like this. Let's play this clip of what you mentioned earlier, Boone. Dan Campbell with some more heat in that press conference. Let's hear what he had to say.
Everything that had made you what you are, you went away from it because you know what, we'll be okay. We got the same guys, you know, and that was a lesson learned for me because we were average. We went 7-9 the next year after going 12-4, and I will never forget that ever. So. We are not going to lose our identity. That is the most important thing to me, and I won't sacrifice it for anyone or anything. I told the team that. They know that. Everything.
Let me ask you this, and he is so right, but I'll ask you a question, and you guys can both answer. Okay, when I bring up a really good football team, right? I'll go Kansas City Chiefs. What is their identity? What would you say their identity is as a football team? Could you give me that answer?
I mean, it's It's hard to say because they have Patrick, like that's their identity is Patrick Mahomes. Because this year they're defensively, now they re-uploaded on offense, but at the end of the day, what's their identity? It's Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. Because
what about the 49ers
run
identity?
Run the ball, play defense, run the ball.
See when I'm going with this, Boone? I'll go Ravens.
Play defense, run the ball. Make sure that Joe Burrow doesn't. I mean, they've done a good job with the tough quarterbacks in that division and able to stop the pass as well.
You can bring up any. I mean, you could bring up any good team. They have an identity. Now, Detroit Lions, you would say,
run that ball.
Right.
Run that ball. Stop the run.
You have an identity. Like, so what Dan's saying, and I know he mentioned it's partially that fourth down stuff, which that is their identity. But if you're a good roster, you show me a good, stable organization, a team that's been good, I'll show you an identity, fellas. That's how that works. You know, with good rosters, you need an identity. If you don't, the Eagles, 1 year they're running the ball, next year they're not figuring it out, and now they're going through these slumps. It's what happens.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good, bro.
We're back.
You're good. Don't stress about it.
No, I think like Dan just at the end just being like, I'm not changing for anyone, dude. Like again, like that just gets back to the point to where you do see a lot of times when teams become good in the NFL, they kind of, I wouldn't say get too cocky, but outside of like maybe like the Eagles last year, like the Eagles go to the Super Bowl and then the next year they win all these games, but then they start to fall apart within. And that had nothing to do with anything else. They had all the players, they had the coaches, they had obviously maybe the OCs leaving, but you're still like you were there. What were they, 9-0 or 8-0 at a time? And
9-1, bro.
9-1, and they started falling apart within. And that's guys like, in my opinion, that's guys like that's Nick Sirianni maybe not having control of the locker room when he should. And Dan Campbell, like he has a voice, and people respect him. If you're not doing it his way, again, I'll say it a million times. Like if you're not doing it Dan Campbell's way, you're hitting the road or you're not playing. Look at Isaiah Buggs last year. Like that's another example. So I think like Dan and them, like they're not going to change. They're going to keep running the ball. They're going to keep going for it on the fourth downs. They're going to continue to have grit. They're going to continue to be the Detroit Lions that got them to the NFC Championship game. There's a reason they finished the season 9-3 the year before, and then won 12 games this last year, went to an NFC Championship game. And there's zero chance Dan Campbell will ever change. Like zero chance. Nothing will change. He could win 10 Super Bowls in a row, and I bet you he shows up, the first one to show up in the offseason doing down-ups and having the same exact press conference as he is today.
Yeah, consistency is key, and that man, Dan Campbell, has built a foundation because now, to your point, Jeff, not only is that important winning games, but in part of winning games, it helps the players be on the same page, helps the players know a common goal. When you bring in the Carlton Davis, the Terrion Arnolds, all these guys are like, all right, what do I got to do? Okay, the defense is stopping the run. What can I do to help that? Because it's a run-first team and stopping the run-first team. So it helps players know their roles and identities. And that's when you talk about teams like the Packers. I think the Packers will find their identity for sure, but right now it's kind of Jordan Love. Jordan Love throwing, who's the number one? Okay, do we know how Josh Jacobs is going to turn out there? The Chicago Bears, they have a new rookie quarterback. They still have to find their identity offensively, especially the fact that they brought in DeAndre Swift and all these wide receivers. The Minnesota Vikings, same situation. So to your point, Jeff, as long as you have a stable roster, a good head coach, a good GM, I would argue that the Lions have all three of those, and they have identity, and their identity, too, to your point, run the ball, stop the run, control the clock. That's how you win Super Bowls in this league. So I'd rather have a run-first team than a pass-first team.
Real quick, boys, can we let's just give it up real quick? The Detroit Lions were back today. Like today, I think yesterday was day one. Technically, they were putting some stuff in, but day like one of the fans and the people, us, media, like people actually being in the building and watching practice. Like today it felt like football was officially back. Like I could not believe like today's show talking training camp and videos of actual Lions players out on the field. I can't believe
the new unis too.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's been such a long off season. Like you got to think like we've been going through this off season for months, it feels like. And now the Detroit Lions are finally back. Like the football boys training camp. Let's go.
Hey, yeah, well, you know, Booner, you like this. Dan Campbell didn't mention Booner, but he mentioned the path.
He knows.
Hey, he knows. And let's hear Dan Campbell talking about the expectations this season.
These guys that have been here and been nowhere else, and now we've had success, they understand that this is the road. Like this is the path. And that's the value of it. They see it and they believe it. And
rewind.
And so really, you know,
give me a rewind.
Hey, TD, rewind for the man.
And
one more time. One more time.
This is the road. like this is the path. And that's the value of it. They see it and they believe it. And so really, your own worst enemy is yourself. It's not anybody else. It's really not the opponent. It's always going to be yourself.
Beautiful thing.
We're always going to have to guard against, bring it up again, the complacency, the entitlement, the reputation. Like, what is that? That's nothing. We got to go back to work. These guys that have
got to go back to work. That's such a God. The guy.
Hey, I'm convinced this man knows the Booner path, and I mean we have the same mindset. It's one day at a time, one game at a time, one practice at a time, and that's the path. The path is it's a long path. You're looking down there, you don't even see the light at the end of the tunnel right now. You know at the end of it there's a Lombardi Trophy, but you don't even see a glare. You don't see anything over there, and it's a long season. I'm struggling over here today. I don't know what's going on. Boone? But you know what I mean?
Be a dog, Boone. Be a dog.
I'm a dog. Dan Campbell.
Adversity, Boone.
What would Dan Campbell do? WDCD. What would WWDC?
It's all right. We got what you got. Merch idea though.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. No, but like seriously, like Dan, like there's a path here, and these guys have to understand. Like, don't go ahead, don't go back. Like, you have to go one day at a time here. I think a lot of those guys know it. The Jared Goffs, the St. Browns, Panay's. But that's like setting the tone. Like, hey, we have one goal at the end of the year. Amon-Ra St. Brown talked about it earlier. Taylor Decker talked about it today. Everyone that spoke today to the media, the only thing that their mind is only on one thing, and that's go win a Super Bowl. And all it is we want to go win a Super Bowl, and that should be the mind. Like, yeah, you want to win the NFC, you want to go to the get a 1 seed. No, you want a Lombardi Trophy this year. We got all those things out of the way. It's time to go win a Lombardi Trophy. And Dan, I do think he does know. He has heard of the Booner path before. He has spoke about my videos on 97.1 multiple.
The birds chirping outside of Dan Campbell's house are just chirping the Booner path all times. He remains locked in. When he wakes up, he hears the birds chirping about the Booner path. But to your point, man, I mean, I think when you look at it, what Dan Campbell is going to be able to do with this team is going to be lead him in the right direction, and just being able to keep his foot down is what this roster just needs. Because if you think about shooting themselves in the foot, you talk about those 4th down attempts. Dan Campbell has the confidence in this offense for a reason. You talk about the drops. I know Josh Reynolds isn't here, but you're going to need somebody else. J-Mo. I think Josh Reynolds was definitely more sure-handed than J-Mo's expected to be this year. So if he can just do all those things that limit it, this Lions team, arguably, outside of maybe the Chiefs right now, I think is the most talented roster in football and one of the most well-coached rosters in football. So if they just do what they're coached and don't try to overthink things, which I think is going to be minimized this year because we talk about that youth and getting more experience, I think that minimizes. And the guys that are young, like Terrion Arnold, are in position to succeed. So to Dan's point, the only thing stopping the Detroit Lions right now are the Chiefs and themselves, in my opinion.
Hey, I'm going to get some J-Mo propaganda out there. All right. J-Mo was making some noise. Making a lot of noise. Hey, what was my number one thing on the things to watch? J-Mo versus Terrion Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we saw it. We saw it.
Gave him that word.
Terrion got welcome to the league, baby.
Yep, welcome to the league. He's a rookie, and you're facing one of the fastest players in the NFL. Hey, a little bit of adjustment. But it's not just speed that J-Mo has improved on. It's route running. Look at this clip.
We're going full screen for this.
Absolutely cutting up, and this is from the Lions. I mean, the route running, I think, is the biggest thing with J-Mo because we know he's fast, right? But getting in and out of, look at this. And again, are we overreacting to a first-round pick wide receiver? Absolutely, he should be able to do this. But this is like stuff that I think matters for this season. He's going to be asked to do a lot more than just be a speedster, go out there, make plays. They're going to ask him to do more. They're going to ask him to run different variations of routes. He's going to have more responsibility. And Amon-Ra St. Brown coming out saying, last year, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, big year. Yeah, now you have Amon-Ra St. Brown being like, yeah, J-Mo, big year. He's gonna come out and impress everyone, all over X, all over Lions, Twitter, whatever. Everyone's saying the same thing, fellas.
Big year.
J-Mo looks different than he did last season. Way, way different. Big year coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with J-Mo is, at the end of the day, it was, hey, he needed to get reps in, and he needed like a full year of being with Jared Goff and being with the offense. The rumors out today, and I'm sure we might, I think we might show a couple tweets here, I don't know, but like there was rumors that this guy was out there, had a bad breakfast, went out there, performed at the highest level and was throwing up while he was doing it. And he just kept performing. And he kept performing. And he had a route, and the Lions posted a route today of him just 4 steps in front of Terrion Arnold and Ife Melifonwu. And they weren't even close to him. And it was the easiest touchdown of all time. I think this year, like, as we start to see this a little bit more and you start to see Jameson Williams kind of getting into the rhythm of things with Jared Goff, and they start that connection down a little bit. Think about this. Think about the connection that Jared Goff had with a guy like DJ Chark downfield. A lot of people said Jared Goff can't throw downfield. That's a lie. DJ Chark was getting a lot of passes downfield, and he was making plays downfield with Jared Goff. Jameson Williams is better than with DJ Chark. Felt like I'm not gonna make any references, but stuttered there. I don't want to say who I felt like. But he's better than DJ Chark, and he's faster, and I think this is going to be a lethal. It makes me excited because you guys know my question marks on the wide receiver room. I think today, at least with wide receiver 1, obviously with Saint, and wide receiver 2 here with Jamo. I think that, like, I feel pretty good about that. Obviously, the back end we still got to talk about. And you see it here, you can just play it like this. Look, this man has so much space on these guys. Look at that. It's not even close. Like, this guy he's going to have a big year. Like, we talked about 800 yards. I don't think that's a crazy thing. He's going to have some big plays. And even if guys out there, some of the best corners in the league, think they can guard him, those same corners think they can guard Tyreek Hill, and they can't. They're not going to be able to touch Jamo in certain scenarios. He's going to have a lot of bodies.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's being able to polish up his game, which is what he needed to do, I think we all know, to Jeff's point, he has the speed, but if he can add the route running, I mean, Josh Reynolds, it was hands and route running. That's what got him open. Jameson Williams is going to have all the ability in the world to get open more than Josh Reynolds if he's able to tone down on his route running and really lock in. And that's just going to be adding another layer, because when you think about it, Jameson Williams, to your point, Booner, throwing up at practice day, but even last year, I mean, the man just goes balls to the wall at all times. That David Montgomery 75-yard touchdown run, that doesn't happen unless Jamo's 60 yards down the field blocking for him and taking on 2 defenders. So if he's able to do that, that's just the key to untapping this next level that the Detroit Lions offense wants to go to. And to your point, like the Tyreek Hills of the world, that's what really got them to the next level. I'm not saying he's going to be Tyreek Hill. I think it's impossible for him to do that, especially in this offense. But just having that type of threat down the field, and then, now he can stop and he can hit you with a hitch. He can hit you with the curl. He can hit you with the dig route. Like, that keeps defenders on their toes. If it's hard to keep up with Jamo and man coverage, that's going to be on your cornerback 2, because your cornerback 1 is going to be on Amon-Ra. So that's just going to be barbecue chicken every day of the week.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I'm excited. I think Jamo, for him, the biggest development for him is being more of a complete wide receiver. Obviously, hands matter, but some guys aren't gifted with the same level that, maybe Amon-Ra, St. Brown. And gifted is probably the wrong word, because it's work. I mean, those guys work. Amon-Ra catches 202 balls after practice. So some guys just will never have that type of reliability catching the football, but at least just controlling what he can control, which is get open, make plays, and be someone that the Lions can depend on when they need a big play. And you saw that towards the end of last season, which he was starting to come along in the NFC Championship game. So this year, no Josh Reynolds, more on Jamo. Can he handle it? I would argue yes. I think he's got all the potential in the world, and we saw that at Alabama. Now, no suspension, no BS, no off-the-field stuff where he gets suspended. He's going to be here full season. Now he's been in the offense, right? Ben Johnson's offense, very complex. He's been in it for a couple years now. At least what they ask of him is very, very clear. There's really no excuses. He's healthy. Go out there, make plays, and basically fill what Josh Reynolds left, that void. That should be Jameson Williams, no question.
Shout out to here, I want to read this tweet off. Nick Baumgartner said Jameson Williams looks stronger through the middle, more explosive with better body control in the air and near the sideline. If he had one hit the dirt today, and he said he didn't see it. If a ball had hit the dirt, he didn't see it. So Jamo went out there today, like the first day that media is out there. I don't know if you guys remember, but like last training camp and practices that people media was able to go to throughout the season, there was always those things where, Jamo dropped another ball. Jamo, he messed this route up. He did this, he did that. There was always something. So finally, after 2 years, to see like him get all of this praise, and it kind of shows, we've had the conversation on this show a lot. Is Jamo putting the work? And remember a couple weeks ago, Amon-Ra St. Brown had that comment about the jugs machine, and he has teammates that always want to come, but they end up stopping. it shows today when you come out that Jamo's been he's been working and he's been putting in the work to be able to kind of show up and show out and kind of go at it. So I think he does just because of that. Like now he's had a full off season of no injuries, no suspension. I think this is a year to where you could have a very scary 1-2 punch here when it comes to your wide receiver room. And that's not even thinking about the Sam Laportas and Jahmyr Gibbs and those things.
No. And the opportunities are going to be there. I mean, Amon-Ra needs he's going to be the vocal. Now you have Sam Laporta. So him and Amon-Ra St. Brown will be the focal point every single week. So they're going to focus on those guys. Now who shows up? It's going to be Jameson Williams. So
because think about two boys before we move off of it. If Jamo becomes consistent, I'm not saying Khalif Raymond's a world beater, but I think Khalif as a wide receiver 3, you can just bank on getting 500 yards. He's damn near done it every season he's been with the Lions. And you think about the production with that, but also the speed. That is just going to be a matchup nightmare for defensive coordinators to try to worry about Khalif Raymond and Jameson Williams' speed with Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra going through the middle of the field. It's going to be terrifying. Especially they were saying that Jamo was doing better in the middle of the field as well.
It is.
Because Jamo is one of those guys where if he's in the middle of the field, it's going to be one of those situations where it's like, all right, he's running between the corner and the safety. He's going to get the corner every time and beat him around for the edge for a fucking 20, 30-yard gain. So it's going to be exciting to watch.
I'll ask you, Boone, give us an update because we're going to have John on in about 6 minutes.
A low legend.
Some of the injuries that that kind of came out today. Some guys participated, but what do you got?
Yeah, so this is some news. I got this actually from Justin Rogers. He had put out there because we weren't at the press conference. I guess Dan Campbell did just talk about it. But guys like DJ Reader, update on DJ Reader, boys. Healthy. DJ Reader is healthy. He's just waiting to get back and get stronger. I think whatever the injury was, he's waiting for it to get a little bit stronger. I think he's the only one now left on the pup because Marcus Davenport, Klotzy, your star defensive edge, Marcus Davenport, he was back today. He a little limited. He was kind of just going through certain drills. And Brian Branch, the future All-Pro, he as well. He was limited. Now there were a couple guys, and this is. You never know what this is. It's a non-football injury list. So it's like if a guy's sick or potentially maybe he got hurt, in a personal workout outside of the Lions facility. It could be sickness. But Carlton Davis got put on the list. DPJ got put on the list. Amik Robertson and Traquan Smith. So there are like a couple big names on that list that didn't go today and got put on the NFI. Active NFI list. So it's interesting. I'm excited though the fact that Davenport and Branch are back. Like Davenport, stay healthy. Stay healthy. Come on, boys.
Yeah, I mean, I know I bash him, but what do we always say? I know you guys say too. I would be happy if I was wrong. I just don't have the confidence, but I have more confidence if he's healthy than if he's on the sideline. Yeah. And with Marcus Davenport, the whole issue with him as far as being at least just a representable and a guy that can hold his own is the injuries. Injuries are always getting him off the field. And then when you try to recover from injuries during the season, they're going to bump up again most of the time. So if he's out there, that's good to see. I'm not taking too much like worry into, especially the second day of camp, technically for the injury reasons. When I would start to be like, is especially for guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones, who we talk about a lot, trying to fight for a spot. When you start getting near joint practices and guys are still sitting out, I'm not even for the DJ Readers. If DJ Reader's healthy, and they're like, you know what? We do not want you going in joint practices because of quad injury. DJ Reader's a big boy. You need your legs under you. You need your legs healthy and strong. So if they want to sit him out until week 1, I'm all for it. I really don't care. I think injuries, I don't think Lions fans should stress unless you're worried about – Booner does, and I'm not even making fun of you right now, the Donovan Peoples-Jones for the wide receiver depth. If he's not participating in camp, you don't really know what you're going to get out of him until the season starts.
So silent – I'm going to address this, and then I'm going to address another comment real quick for people that are joining late, but I'll just start with this. Silent says, appreciate you joining, by the way, Silent. He says, it was nice hearing Mosley was a full participant.
That's a big one.
Do you see Mosley playing a little in the slot?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. That'll suit him better just because he is losing speed, but he is very long. So he's not going to be able – he's a man-to-man corner. That's what he's always been, so he's not going to lose the intelligence there. But when you look at veteran corners, a lot of the times they end up going to slot. And you talk about guys like Amik Robertson. You talk about guys like Ennis Rakestraw. That's a guy that he can really coach up. I know Amik's been in the league, but Emmanuel Mosley, he wasn't a premier corner, but he was a starting corner for some really good teams in the NFL with the 49ers. A lot of wisdom there.
You got to think too. Amik Robertson was out today. Like he's on that, the NFI list. So that's
but
probably
to have
why
Emmanuel Moseley there just in case injuries arise. That's
we
good.
were expecting him not to even be ready because he had the injury at a similar time than he did the year before, and he wasn't ready for a couple weeks last year. So obviously he was able to get through this, through the therapy a lot quicker than he was last time, and he's back in training camp going. Like there's been no question on him. Like he hasn't been like limited or anything that we've seen or heard about. That he was just out there in full practice today, playing at the nickel spot. So when Amik comes back, I think guys really think about the secondary. Last year you had nothing. You had nothing. I mean, this secondary was 32nd in the NFL. At points.
Dog food. It was
now
dog
you come
food.
in. It was terrible. Now you come in. You have Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, the first-round draft pick, Amik Robertson, a guy who started multiple games with the Raiders last year. You have Ennis Rakestraw, a rookie. Now you add in the secondary with the safeties with Brian Branch, Ife Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph, and if Emmanuel Moseley is healthy, guys, seriously think about. Yeah, he got hurt and he tore 2 ACLs. I really don't care. This man is an absolute dog. He's a Dan Campbell guy. There's a reason they signed him 2 years ago. It's because they knew what type of player he was. Go watch him in San Francisco and tell me he can't help this football team out, whether he was injured or not. I don't think, and in today's world, they could probably take you in and do some sort of AI surgery, and your ACLs are perfectly fine. So I think he might be good, man. Like I think it's going to end up being to where he comes back the Moseley of the past, the Moseley that he was before, because of the way the ACLs are these days. You can come back and still go play and play at a high level. And I think Emmanuel Moseley, with his mindset, he's been in the league for a while. This man might take snaps away from some people, but guess what? I don't care, because that man will make this secondary very good.
Robotic knees, Klotz.
Boone, I love the confidence. I'm going to push back on the Manuel Moseley.
Oh, of course you are. Negative, Klotzy.
No, but hey, you have your perspective on it. I have mine. We disagree, but we do agree on that. We still think Emmanuel Moseley can be a good corner for this team. I think when you look at him, right now you're thinking of Emmanuel Moseley, your cornerback 5 or 6? And that's insane to hear as a Detroit Lions fan. But to your point, Booner, like if you have a guy like Emmanuel Moseley, do you think he's just going to hand his spot over to Terrion Arnold?
No.
Like Emmanuel Moseley is a guy who in the playoff was just whacking Green Bay Packers players, just smacking them around. The Packers lost in I think it was the divisional round. The San Francisco 49ers special teams unit put up more points than the Packers offense with Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. Do you know who was covering Devontae Adams for most of that game? Happened to be one Sir Mr. Emmanuel Moseley. So I know Devontae Adams out of the division, but that experience with the youth of this team, to your point, Booner, snaps can be taken, especially early on in the season.
Yep. No question.
Just another piece.
Before we get John on, ECL joined a little late. I'm going to just readdress this so we don't have to address it. ECL says, good afternoon, chat. Did anyone get an email from YouTube about your membership? Jeff, I messaged you on IG about this real quick. YouTube accused us of reusing content. It's really has to do with reels that they confuse something, whatever. We're demonetized. So we're appealing to get that fixed. If
we're in
not,
court right now.
Memberships are going to be paused. You're not going to be charged for the next probably, I think, 2 to 3 months, and then they'll resume. So, you don't have to cancel, but they'll be paused. So that's why they demonetized us for the time being. So that's why you got an email. So we're working it out, but don't worry, ECL. Hopefully that answers your question. But
we're still here. We're still alive, baby. We're still doing shows, and the Detroit Lions are still going to win a Super Bowl.
YouTube monetization is not going to stop the Booner path. Plain and simple.
No.
I wouldn't even call it a speed bump. It's like a crack in the road.
It's what it is. It's what Dan Campbell says.
You're just driving over it.
It's what Dan Campbell says. You hit a bump, you figure a way out. We're figuring a way out. We're going to go out and get some ads and sponsorships. We don't need YouTube. We don't need your money. We're going to go make our own money. Well, we'll love your money, but we'll like it. But we're going to go make our own.
We would like it.
Well, and that's why there's no members in the chat, so that'll be resolved. Trust me, I want emojis and all this emotes, whatever it is. I mean, I want all of it, but you can't do it right now. Hopefully, they give us some leeway here for falsely accusing us. But let's have on John Maakaron, the doc. He's waiting, so let's welcome in the doc. He had a busy day today, huh? Hulk Hogan. I mean, he was. Hey, he did a lot today. Doc was on the move. So we're gonna have him on to break it all down. So please welcome to the show. Publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast, man who joins us every single Wednesday, Mr. John Maakaron. John, welcome to the program. How you doing?
Yes, sir, fellas. It's back. Football's back. I was excited. Man, it felt good to be around Dan Campbell and his brand new big Meyer lectern. It's great, man. It's great to be back. First and foremost, I'm thankful that you guys are still broadcasting. I thought for a second some bullshit that I spewed got you kicked off, but some bullshit that you guys did got you in trouble. You'll figure it out, hopefully, and get all resolved.
Hey, John, that we may or may not have done.
It's all accusations at
may
this
or may
point.
Not, John. Proven innocent until proven guilty.
Till someone proves us wrong or proves us guilty.
We got our lawyers working for us. There's an appeal in progress.
I may or may
team
not be
right
the
now.
head lawyer.
Yep. We got OJ's lawyer team right now. That's who we got. Ain't
Doc,
no way we're guilty.
Doc, you made up for a lot of it. We were fighting some adversity today. It was a rough day, but guess what? We're ready. We're locked in. We're excited to talk some training camp. Doc, you were there. You guys can go check out. I mean, Doc had some one-on-ones with some players, man. Guys, if you want insight, go check it out. Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated. I mean, Doc, you talked with a bunch of players. Your experience at training camp. We'll start with some of the one-on-one conversations. Could you go through and talk to the chat about that?
Yeah, no doubt. It was great practice. I love the ramp-up period. It's 90 minutes, and part of it is just the stretching and individual drills, and then some team periods. That we got a chance to see Hendon Hooker, Jared Goff, Jameson Williams, which I know we're going to talk about. And so quickly, an hour and a half goes by, and then after practice, we get the opportunity to talk to players. And the first player that I got a chance to talk to was Emmanuel Mosley. And a small group of reporters wanted to talk to him, obviously, because he's coming back now. We finally get to see him. And where did we see him? He was playing nickel. And it was really interesting and intriguing to look at because he said that he kind of finds it intriguing because you get to be a little bit more physical, a little bit more pop in the action. And he said that, look, a reporter asked him if he's going to play that spot. And he said, look, he's going to play all over to learn the defense and to get acclimated. But, really just on a personal level, it was good to see kind of the sense of relief that he had from doing all the work that he did to rehab for 2 years to get back on the field. And you could just get a sense of, okay, he reached another milestone in his development after coming back from 2 ACL injuries. That's a grind, man. Not only dealing with it once, but twice. And he just said that he leaned on friends, former players that have dealt with the same thing. And he's ready. He said also, I asked him when a couple of the reporters walked away, I said, what are your goals? What do you want to kind of accomplish? And he said that he wants to not only be a significant member of the roster, but he wants to be a leader. He wants to let his play do the talking. And now you have another option behind Amik Robertson and Brian Branch that if he can stay healthy, he can provide some unique matchup opportunities, a guy that can really play strong man-to-man. So that's just another option. You hope, really outside of performance, you hope he can stay healthy. And then, like I said, my mission this year is to get around and talk to more players, get some insight, and give you guys more insight into what these players are thinking. The worst they can say is no, but it's the first day of camp, so they were all excited to talk to me. So I talked to Hendon Hooker, right? He was walking off the field, and I just asked him, hey, how'd you feel your day went? Because we saw the 3 players that I posted that impressed me were Aiden Hutchinson and Jameson Williams and Hendon Hooker. And yeah, it was a shaky start, but he was zipping the ball all over the place. It kind of was like, for a moment, the light switch went on, and he was just dropping back, throwing the ball to where it needed to be. And he kind of had himself one of his better practices. So I asked him, talked to him about it. He said that part of his work with Teddy Bridgewater was to learn to kind of command the huddle a lot more and a lot more understanding of, hey, this is where the timing needs to be on these routes. Make your read and pull the trigger and make the throw. And he looked a lot better. Zipped the ball. It kind of felt like you saw him gaining confidence as the practice went on. But look, even though it's a non-padded practice, any opportunity for a player like Hendon Hooker to have some success, it was great. So it's always fun to talk to the players. I also talked to Isaiah Williams. I'm going to write that up next day or two as I get some more information, but he's hungry. He's a wide receiver that's hungry to earn a spot, kind of feeling the sting of not being drafted, but he kind of knows too that he's behind the 8 ball a little bit, but he's doing the work, the extra work needed to try and make up for the fact that he's probably, fighting for a roster spot. So I got around today, and obviously, clearly you saw who spoke to the general masses with St. Brown, Montgomery, and Taylor Decker. But it was a great opportunity out there. I was so excited. And now year 6, you're just comfortable. Like, early on when you're reporting, you get nervous to ask these players, hey, do you want to talk for a minute? But hey, if they say no, okay, you get it. You understand that they have certain days that they are allotted to talk to the media, and some days they don't want to talk. So you just move on to the next opportunity. And I just think that in this situation, now in year 6, I'm comfortable. I want to ask and bring the readers that come to SI some more insight into what's going on with the players. And that's what we're going to try to do each and every day as much as possible. But day 1, a success, professional day, but highlighted by what everybody wants to talk about. J-Mo and Aiden had themselves a day.
Yeah, Doc, that's exactly what I want to ask you here is the whole story going around Twitter right now. The first guy I think that's been the biggest is Jameson Williams. And he's been obviously for 2 years been going through it with injuries and the suspension, different things. And it feels like finally he's breaking through. What did he look like out there today? And kind of what's the future hold for Jameson Williams after day 1 that we saw?
Yeah, man, did you see how he cooked Terrion? Terrion's done.
Hey, we're not spreading that narrative, Doc.
Hey, Doc.
None of that.
Okay, let's focus on Jameson Williams, because you did see in the Rookie Chronicles that Terrion said, hey guys, wait a minute. Let's not assess me as being someone that can't cover off of that. Look, guys, it's not full speed. You clearly realize that, hey, J-Mo turned on the Jets and he wanted to make a play. So you give him credit. Clearly there's some things for show that go on, and you saw it with Xavier Worthy, with the Chiefs and things like that. But look, let's just say this. Clearly the work that Jameson Williams has done away from the field has paid dividends. You're going to see he looks stronger, he looks crisper, and he looks like, okay, it's not like, and here's the way I would describe it. Early on, when you're given so many routes and you have to understand so many things about the defense, you get into your head too much. You're thinking too much. So whenever you're thinking, that just naturally slows you down, and it makes you not be the best that you can be. What comes with more confidence, with more experience, is the ability to be more comfortable. And that's the word I want to use to describe what Jameson Williams was today. He was comfortable. He understood where he needed to be on each and every route, and Jared found him. And it was nice to see early on a deep ball gets past Iffy and Terrion Arnold and blows past him, and he runs into the end zone. That's just confidence for him. And, I'm curious what he ate that made him puke all over the place. He said he ate something in the morning. Hopefully it wasn't a Egg McMuffin or something not greasy that kind of did not
ice cream on top of it. No way.
Something. Hopefully you got to realize eggs and bacon, you got to get your protein in, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But look, he brushed it off, and we saw a player that, look, if he can show that confidence and stack days, you have a wide receiver that can be, and I'll say it's clear, you have a receiver that you can expect to kind of be on the level of a Justin Jefferson, a number 1, takes a top off of defense, can be a go-to guy when you need big plays. And hey, if you get that, if he builds confidence, look out. And number 1 thing is not too many drops that I saw. And look, it's day 1, but what a nice start for Jameson Williams. That's the start everybody wants to see. And so we report on it. It was a good day for Jameson Williams.
Love to hear it.
Justin Jefferson, Doc. High praise, but love having you on, especially this time of the season, Doc. You'll be our boots on the ground, our eyes in the skies for it. But it's kind of going along with the J-Mo combo. And it's something that I genuinely am not worried, but I'm interested to see, because I don't have the most confidence in it. What's your confidence level in Jared Goff to be able to hit J-Mo deep consistently this year? Because Booner brought up earlier, he was able to hit DJ Chark down the field, especially stretching it on the perimeter, which the Lions lacked last year. So what's your confidence level on Goff and J-Mo actually being able to connect on that consistently?
Yeah, look, it's key. And you hope that level of connection can be established, because that can clearly help the rest of the offense. But look, I know it's a big deal, the deep explosive plays, really those moments when you can get behind a defense, but he's going to draw some attention. So you look at what makes a receiver great is also the ability to catch underneath routes. You saw what he did in the NFC title game. You can use him in so many different ways that he can be a weapon. So look, it's going to be tough, because I do think that secondaries are clearly going to emphasize, don't let, in a Tampa 2 system, you don't let people get behind you. And there's certain defensive backs that can clearly establish that by being physical and having their way to try and limit Jameson Williams. But I'll say this, there's going to be moments. You saw in key games last year when Jared Goff needed to start to make a comeback, kind of the first guy he started targeting was Jameson Williams. And you realize, look, those moments where he can be explosive, you can't teach that speed. He'll have his moments, but can Jared Goff connect with Jameson? It's yet to be determined because there's so many factors that result in a deep play happening. But you do realize a good sign is the Lions are talking about it. They're talking about one aspect of this offense they want to do better is more explosive plays. And that can also mean for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jared Goff, look, I think at this point you can stop setting me up to rip on Jared Goff. He deserves everybody's confidence that, look, he can run this offense and handle things to the degree that this team can win games and score points. Now, is one of his strengths the deep ball? Look, I think, when the offensive line blocks and the route presents itself, the one thing that he's got to do better at is be willing to pull the trigger. And with a better defense, I think he might take some more chances. Maybe his interception total slightly rises this year, but I think that he can trust the defense to kind of step up a little bit. If they can showcase their improvement, then he doesn't have to kind of be so much afraid of the turnover. I think that Jared Goff is an above average quarterback that can lead this football team. But the deep ball, we got to wait and see, and we got to see it more consistently. And guess what? We're going to find out pretty quickly because guess what? The pads come on Monday, and that's that's the exciting time of the year when we can see, okay, the secondary is going to start to put forth their biggest effort against the wide receivers here. And let's see if Jameson can handle the physicality of Carlton Davis, because I think that Davis is going to be so keen in. He wants to keen in on trying to stop JMO and prove to himself that he can stop a top flight wide receiver.
Yeah, Doc, I'll ask you, and we talked about a little before you joined, but some of the guys that are dealing with some injuries that are coming back. I know Davenport's healthy. He's ahead of schedule, and Branch is back. What are some things you're looking forward to see with Marcus Davenport now being healthy? And how do you think he's a guy that I think a lot of people are going to pay attention to once the pads come on?
Yeah, no doubt. People want to see that. Can he return to form from a couple years ago? Injuries have plagued him the last couple years. Didn't get a whole lot of production from his time with the Vikings. But look, Davenport has the ability with his pass rush to kind of do some things. He can be somebody that can draw some attention away from Lee McNeil as well. Look, in the end, you're looking for somebody that can be consistent, that can maintain gap responsibility, understand that, hey, the opportunities that are there for this defensive line to get pressure. And first and foremost, what the Lions what they excelled at last year, they really showed that they can stop the run. So if Davenport can get out there and be that situational pass rusher when you need it and win battles, then you have a great opportunity as well. But it's tough because we haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of them just yet out on the field. But when we do, if he's healthy, you're going to get a violent pass rusher that knows how to be savvy and knows how to get to the quarterback. And that's what the Lions are looking for. At the same token, don't sleep on the others as well. Mekhi Wingo, James Houston. There's going to be some of those individuals that will be given opportunities to win that, quote unquote, opportunity to play opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. But Marcus Davenport, look, in the end, what the Lions looked for, they didn't go after the high end. Maybe you and I would have said, maybe you go after Daniil Hunter, who is a proven double-digit sack artist and is just the guy that ended up going to the AFC. But you recognize that in a situation in which you need a player that can contribute, sometimes you go with low risk, high upside. And that's what the Lions did with Davenport. Let's just hope he can stay healthy, because if he does, I think you can start to kind of pencil him in as somebody that can really be integral in the success of the defensive line.
Yeah.
Klotz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Klotz loves it. Doc, other side of the ball, I just want to hear the defensive player of the year, future defensive player of the year, Aiden Hutchinson. I want to hear how kind of you thought he did today. I read a couple articles throughout the day that sounded like he was dominant, and he looks like he's a different player. And coming off 11.5 sack season with multiple in the playoffs, led the playoffs in sacks. You would think that this is the year he takes that jump. Did it look like that today? Is the hype real?
And he wasn't hurt, Doc. He wasn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was healthy. He was active.
Yeah.
He was active.
The rumors
All right.
say.
Okay, memo for next week. You could say, I read your detailed article.
I read your detailed article, Doc.
Yeah. All right. I know you probably skimmed it and tried to see if there's any audio version of it, but let me tell you what I wrote. Being that if you're taking notice, I had the observations up first from the beat reporters as I was feverishly typing as I got back there. Let me tell you what I saw. I was impressed, man. There was a 3-snap stretch where if the pads were on, he would have lit up Jared Goff. He would have blown up the pass protection, and he would have been in the backfield destroying the quarterback. Look, he looks stronger. He looks faster. He looked like a man on a mission in those 3 reps. And look, it's early on. It's hard to decipher exactly what's going on with the defensive line because they're not exactly physical here to the umph degree. They're working. They're trying to, get through their techniques in pass blocking. But Aiden Hutchinson got to the ball, and he was around the action. That's all you could ask for. So I'm going to say this. Aiden had a great day. Look, all you can ask for, and this was great too because Dan Campbell indicated what he wanted to see. He said, when I first got here in 2000, and that's what I saw, which was crazy because that's what Lions football always looked like in 2021. Balls on the ground, false starts, everything looked disastrously sloppy. And I just said more of the same in 2021. I'm like, oh my God. But then as the team got better, practices looked better. They looked crisper. The execution of the plays, the mistakes that were made lessened. So he said now in 2024, he expects this football team to look like a team that understands all the concepts, all the players that have been through so many of the meetings should understand what's going on. And that's what's happening. And it's so great to see a player like Aiden Hutchinson now take advantage of this, take advantage of what he's supposed to do. And defensively, what's his job? Win battles, get to the quarterback, show speed, and break up plays. And that's what we're going to start to see. And we saw that on Wednesday. So it was a great first day for Aiden. I think he's ready to go. And I think a lot of the players are ready to go. And look, Dan Campbell said he kind of, if the Lions were asked to play a football game right now, could they go out there and execute? Yeah. Would it be exactly perfect? No. But he expects this football team to go out there and execute at a high level right from jump. And I think the biggest thing that I took away from today, was so proud. Amon-Ra St. Brown looked into the microphone, and if you peek, you can kind of see myself kind of walk up late. He looks into the camera and says, we can win the Super Bowl, and we all believe it. And this is the goal. We're talking about it. It's the mission. This is the goal. This is the only goal. And this is finally where this football team needs to be. And finally, we can talk about, hey, you did this well, but can you do it better? You made a first down, but why didn't you get a couple more yards after the catch? Hey, Aiden Hutchinson, you made this move. Why didn't you make this play in this situation so that when the time comes in the postseason, this team can execute at the highest level? This team's hungry, and they're talking about it. This team's talking about it and talking about it confidently. The belief is there. They can win the Super Bowl. And it's great to be around. The confidence and the swagger, you can feel it. It's palpable. You guys, you're going to see it when you get out there.
Cannot
it's great.
Wait.
Doc, it's time. We need a kicker update. The Money Badger, Jake Bates, is the talk of the town when Jake Bates got brought in here. But you just brought up the Super Bowl hopes and aspirations. Couldn't get that one out. But people think that the kicker position is something that if they improve on, really helps their chances to get back to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. What did you see out there from the kickers today?
Well, they didn't do a whole heck of a lot. They did some special teams drills. They were standing there. I just got at my first look. They did not do any kicks, no field goal competitions, nothing at all. It's a ramp-up period. So the update regarding the kickers will have to wait. But you're absolutely right. I think the biggest question mark is going to be, and I'm sure at some point in camp, it'll be addressed when we start to see a little bit more. The question is going to be, Dan, with a better kicker or with a kicker that you trust a little bit more, are you going to be willing to take some points instead of going for it on fourth down? And I think he'll give the standard answer, which is, it depends on the situation, but he leans more toward being aggressive, but he could, in certain situations, take some points. So, look, it's going to be a great battle to watch. You have the traditional big leg kicker, but doesn't have a lot of experience in the league. But, guys, this is the reason why, and I heard it being talked about and put in a good way this morning. Special teams coaches, just like any coach, wants to rely on people that they know and trust. Well, right now, they know that Badgley, they know exactly his range to a T. They know where he can make it from and where he can't. And so for Jake Bates to get this job, he's going to have to overwhelm and dominate this competition. And he's going to have to be consistent. He'll be given the chance. And when the competition starts, he's got to win it. And it'll be interesting to see when it starts, how far back they're going to do the kicking competitions. But when it happens, check out All Lions. Check out Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated as we report what goes on with the kicking competition. Got to wait and see.
Doc, I'll ask you this. We need a rookie update. So some of the rookies, you mentioned Makai Wingo, but even the other guys, could you give kind of an update on the rookies? And you mentioned a little bit of Terry and Arnold. I know we kind of hinted at him at the beginning, but just kind of go through how the rookies look today.
Yep. Yeah, it was great. One of the things that we always are going to pay attention to is where people are lining up. Clearly, everybody saw that Brian Branch is back, which was great. You saw him at safety. But now as well, the opportunity that has been presented with Carlton Davis being out is we got a chance to see a little bit of Ennis Rakestraw on the outside. And look, you see a guy that potentially, watching his college film again and seeing what he can do in certain spots against certain opponents, you have an opportunity there to have Ennis Rakestraw play on the outside and have some confidence that he can be physical, that he can match up and play man at a decent level. So that was solid. You see him being more comfortable, a little bit more fluid. Terry and Arnold, always, when you're out there, guys, you're going to see zero and you're going to notice him. He's just fluid. He's always around, technically sound. And you see the footwork is just really stellar to watch in terms of knowing exactly his positioning. So Ennis Rakestraw and Terry and Arnold, I think you're going to start to see their development day in and day out. And you're going to start to see them being, at least with Ennis Rakestraw, being at the nickel spot, being outside, learning Aaron Glenn's defensive scheme. Makai Wingo, I didn't get a chance too much to see because I was looking mostly at the starters, looking at Aiden Hutchinson. So in future days, as they start to ramp up more, each practice goes at like 15 minutes longer over the next 4 days. So we'll get a chance to look more. Who stood out to me because we thought he was injured was Manu. Manu was out there doing his thing. And I think that when you see a player that's that raw, it's interesting because you're going to start to see him develop day by day with his footwork, backing up, moving forward, understanding his responsibility. So Manu just, always sticks out and you pay attention to what he's about. But the thing that he does well is if someone gets around him a little bit, he recovers pretty well. And I think that from my experience talking to his coaches and talking to real sources, they understand that once he gains that confidence, that he knows that, wait a minute, this game is going to slow down for me. And knowing that he's got the physical traits, then he's going to start to dominate. And I think it'll happen in the next 30 days. It's not going to happen in the first week, but over time, as he gains confidence, as he understands that I have the physical tools, I have the abilities, he's going to start to showcase that he can win a lot of battles. And he's just a physical specimen. It's great to see him every day because he sticks out from everybody else. So it's great to see. And then you look at Makai Wingo and the opportunities that you see in drills. You love the opportunities that he's going to get, hopefully, to play along this defensive line. So I'm curious to see how a lot of these rookies develop over time, and it's going to be a fun chat in 3 to 4 weeks as they get more acclimated.
He's 6'8" with no gut, Doc. Continue.
No gut.
I don't get it.
Smaller gut than me, and I'm 5'10". So it's tough. Doc, didn't really hear much about Sam Laporte and Jahmyr Gibbs today. How did those guys look? Kind of these second-year guys who had massive years last year and big years, especially like a Sam Laporte, second-team All-Pro as a tight end, as a rookie. How was it? Did he stand out? Did he look like he kind of even took a step forward in here, him and Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah, I don't think they were targeted quite as much. There was not a lot of reps. I think there was maybe a couple team periods and things like that. I just didn't get a chance to see them make I think those that stuck out were a little bit more of the second group that did things. It was basically just a couple tosses here and there, light work. So it wasn't a heavy load. It wasn't like they were in those moments where you have competitiveness, where it's like second down and you need it, and you didn't get a chance to see that. So it was kind of a lighter day for the top end guys in terms of Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. But in individual drill, if you saw the video, you saw it was good to at least see Jahmyr Gibbs out at practice because he didn't do a lot during the spring. You saw in our video shot by Cameron that the explosiveness is there, the speed is there, and the confidence is going to be there for Jahmyr Gibbs. But as the weeks progress, it's going to be a good opportunity to see what goes on with the running backs and how they're utilized a little bit more in the pass game and their comfort level too with some blocking, because there's going to be some times where I'm sure Aaron Glenn's going to bring some extra pressure to kind of mix things up against Jared Goff.
And Doc, another one that I have to keep checking in with you on, the guy I've been most critical of by far this offseason, Levi Onwuzurike, and the guy that he's going to be competing for, I think, especially with DJ Reader, if he could possibly miss some time, doesn't look like it, but in that case, big body Broderick Martin. So how did those two guys look? Broderick Martin, Levi O. What they look like today, Doc?
Big body Broderick.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely was on that side paying attention to the drills. Broderick just looked strong. He looked like he took his offseason task of shedding some of that weight and being somebody that maybe wasn't in the best physical shape. I think he took it to heart to gain strength in this defensive scheme. I think he looked professional. He looks a little bit more fluid, a little bit better footwork. You look at Levi Onwuzurike, I like his size being around 300 pounds. I think now that he's got look, man, back injuries are tough, and you may, be able to play, but you're not exactly as explosive as you need to be. I think he looks the part. I think that in a situation in which you have a player that's fighting for his job, you see that added motivation and everything is going in a manner that's going to be successful for him. So again, now here's the tough part. As they say in pajamas, the toughest thing to assess is the offensive line and defensive line, because over the first 4 days, the battle level in the trenches is not there. Like they're blocking, they're focused on the fundamentals, which is footwork, hand placement, technique, but they're not, the offensive line and the defensive line are not going full force. They're not getting as physical as the things you see are basically in the first couple days. You see how crisp are the passes, how good are the route runs, who makes key plays, who splits the defense, things like that. It's, kind of the way you describe it is it's an advanced version of a walkthrough. But as each day progresses, you'll see more and more battles. You'll see more in terms of things that you can see that will relate to how they perform on the field. But the way in which you say early on, first impression, Broderick Martin he's going to be given an opportunity to earn some snaps. And I think he'll take advantage. And Levi is going to fight all the way through. And you could clearly see that those two guys are two guys that when the preseason games start, when it's go time and they're given reps, they gotta show out.
Doc, I want to ask you something not related necessarily to training camp, but something that has to do with the Lions, and that comes in the future. The 18th game being rumored, probably going to happen. What's your thoughts on that possibility and kind of how that affects preseason? Me and Booner talked about this yesterday. There's a side where preseason people say, well, just take a preseason game or two away. But, John, I would argue that preseason game determines whether or not a player, could be any player, has a job in the NFL compared to other leagues. Where are you at with the 18th game coming and how it could affect different teams and players trying to make a roster?
No doubt you formulated that assessment. I asked Dan Campbell that prior to the break, and he said the same thing. He said, look at where the Lions have been in terms of their development from young players. And that third preseason game, it's just really unfortunate that the group that gets affected the most is players that are lower on the depth chart, that are fighting to win roster spots, because you don't get that developmental time. You don't get that chance to wow your coaches or wow others in the league. So it sucks for them. For starters and players, it's great because guess what? They're going to agree to it because the league's going to say, we're going to pay you another game check. And that ends up being a significant amount of dollars. And it stinks, In the end, here's how I looked at it. I thought the 16-game schedule was perfect. I thought the 16 games in the regular season, perfect, along with 4 preseason games, because I think where, you got a little bit of pushback is, starters didn't want to play anymore, and fans got upset because they're paying full price to see number 3s and 4s ballot out. But in the end, the preseason really is for I think practice is for the starters and for those that are looking to take the next step in their career. But also preseason games are very valuable to those trying to put good tape on there for not only their team, but for the rest of the league. So I thought the 4 preseason games and the 16-game schedule was perfect. 17 games, you notice too that, and I'm talking selfishly here. I'm a big fan of football, so watching it's great. But when you work in it, each game in and of itself is a significant amount of work, from the predictions that start in the morning to the inactives list to things that you find out in the game, the betting. So for 17 games, the days that are game days, we're putting out sometimes 10, 11, 12, 13 articles in the same day, and people will read it nonstop. So it's the extra work is daunting. I love it because it's rewarding and you guys love to read it. But at the same time, I think that you put so much into it, you're just drained. Like after today, I'm energized talking to you guys, but I'm wore out. Like I put a lot into today because I knew the fans were going to read it at a high pace, and I wanted to show that I can compete with those that are starting their own publications. That, hey, let's just see what I can do in regards to someone that previously has started their own thing and had some success. And I think that, knowing where I stand, I'm comfortable in the work that I do. But 18 games is just another game. And I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to sound lazy, but it's just a lot of work, because then here's the wild part when you get into this job is that by 1 o'clock, by the time the game starts, we already have so much content that's on the site. Then the game starts, and then you have the post game. So you guys, when you guys go on after a Sunday and the game ends at 4, all the reporters are there till 8, 9, 10 o'clock, writing and recapping everything that was said by the head coach and all the players and the ramifications and the podcast and everything. So it's just a lot of work. And so you realize that adding that extra game, what that extra 13-hour workday looks like. And it's just, to me, it's daunting. But, I look at it like the way in which, and I can share with you guys, the way in which I kind of do it is during the preseason, I take a week where basically I'm there, but a lot of the writers will do a lot of the bulk of the work. And I take a game in the preseason where I just have one of my writers just cover the game. Like I'm there, I'm in it, but they do the writing. Like I just take a week where I kind of take like a preseason break from all the stuff, because literally starting from last night, I was excited. I got up at 5 a.m. We're going from 5 a.m. to 10, 11, just every single day, just learning about football and being invested in this football team. And I like it, but at the end, it does take a toll. I didn't have this many gray hairs when I started this job 6 years ago, but 18 games is going to be daunting, but it's a challenge. But you guys know I'll rise up to it. But in a moment where you want to be a little selfish, I would love to go back to 16 games.
Hey Doc, I was on the 8 teams. Give me an extra football game, man. I could drink some Kool-Aid for an extra time. I love that. I do want to throw this out there too, because obviously the first person you guys spoke with today was Dan Campbell, and that man, he brought the energy. He was ready to go. It seems like you get the same Dan Campbell no matter what. And he did bring up the path as well. I don't know if you noticed that. He did talk about the path a little bit. I don't know if it was the Booner path or just any sort of path of going to the Super Bowl. What are the kind of expectations here with Dan Campbell? And honestly, just being back in the building with Dan, does he feel like it's like, hey, same old Dan, like he is ready to go? There's no slip ups, and this man's expecting nothing but greatness. Do you guys still get that same feeling being in the building with him?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, first, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. Comments that like I said, reinvigorate me. That's why I write so much. That's why after meeting my childhood idol today, I came back and wrote up more. So, and I think to do this job, and like I said, one of the early things, you guys know, if the chat knows, I've talked to the guys a lot. I said, just hit record. When you're tired, just keep recording, keep doing the podcast. It's rewarding to push through when you're exhausted. And what gets me through, gets me up in the morning. I got up early. My alarm was set for 6 a.m. today. I got up at 5:15 on my own because I was excited. I didn't want to oversleep and miss the first day because I wanted to talk to Dan Campbell. But knowing you guys read it and enjoy it, and most of the comments that are left here are positive, and you guys understand how much I bring to it and how much I love it. But part of the love is Dan Campbell. Like, he walks in, commands the room. And that lectern was effing hilarious because it actually made him looks a little bit smaller. And the first thing he says is, damn, what kind of lectern is this? This thing is huge. And he comes out and look what he's asked and look what he talks about. It was amazing to listen to. He says, what's the message? And he's like, the message is, we are not about our reputation. We're about doing the work. We're about doing what we need to do to keep up what we're about. And he said something that was great. He's like, I've been on teams that won 12 games and then the next year went 7-9. I think he was talking about the Giants when they went 12-4, I think in 2001 or so. And then the following year went 7-9. So he's talking about that team that he was on. And he knows that there's always the risk of complacency, but he understands that right now this football team is expecting to do big things. And in order to do that, you got to do the work. You got to grind. And you got to be about every single day having a championship mentality. And he said it. He put the challenge right to the guys. Right away, day one, Amon-Ra, Panay, this is your team. You guys have been here. You understand what's going on. You understand you're the leaders. You've been given hefty contracts. Lead this football team. And when you have leaders like that, you're in a good spot. And so Dan Campbell is worth the hour drive every single day. I never regret it. Today I almost was late. It's an hour drive for me. The Southfield effing freeway, 94 was flooded. So I got the report. Man, you're tired and you're driving, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to hear something. Dan Campbell's going to say something. He's going to be motivational. And so I take a lot of energy at 8 a.m. to hear Dan Campbell. And when he speaks, you just feel like, okay, you can see why the players want to run through a wall for him, because I want to write stories about Dan Campbell and write about a coach that I've written that could be one of the next great NFL head coaches in this league, because he's got the first talent, which is get the players to buy in. You can get the players to buy in. You now can captivate a room. And the message is, look, do the work and let's go. And let's start the process of putting together a football team that can win it all. Like I said, until otherwise, if you've read, maybe it was controversial, maybe not. I wrote it. My first power rankings, I got the Lions as number one team in the NFL.
No,
you guys didn't.
I did see it. I saw it. Yeah, I saw it, Doc. I did. I read your stuff. Hey, just like you said there for a second.
Right now, until a team starts playing and shows me differently, the Lions are the number one team in the NFL with their offense, defense, special teams, and one of the best head coaches in Dan Campbell. So until I see otherwise, and I did it too, clearly. I want to say that I was a front runner when they started the year, and hopefully they finished the year as the number one team. And so thank you guys for reading it. And look, until otherwise, Dan Campbell's one of the best.
Well, Lucas, did you go yet?
Yeah, just real quick, Doc. I know we talked about the rookies a little bit. But what do you see from Vaki today? I know obviously you're running drills with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, so he might look a step behind. But do you think he was holding his own, especially for it being his first real day of training camp?
Yeah, no doubt. Clearly, rookies have a lot given to them. He looks the part out of the backfield. He's given opportunities. He's in a competition with Craig Reynolds. He'll hold his own. Very smart player. I think he's a player that you're going to start to read about, that if he makes a mistake, he'll correct it pretty quickly. And I think the fun part is hopefully we get a chance a little bit more to see his personality, because I think David Montgomery let it out that he's a little bit goofy or funny. He's a funny dude in the meeting room. So I want to see how he handles as the competition ramps up, because it's him versus Craig Reynolds. But at the same token, Bam Knight has a chance to get in there too. And Jamar Jefferson still developing as well. But I think Vaki has a nice chance to also add some things on special teams that look, the pathway for him to play this year is special teams. And I think as camp progresses, we'll start to see more of those drills and more of his opportunities that he could get, maybe to be in the mix for a returner, battle it out a little bit with Khalif Raymond and see how it shakes out. But he looks like he belongs. He looks like a rookie that when people are going to start to read and take notice of what he can bring to the table, you'll see why the Lions made the investment in him.
I got to ask, Doc, and you mentioned Hendon Hooker earlier, how he had a pretty good day. And we went through and did our top 5 things to watch out for come training camp. One of the things I had was, can Hendon Hooker secure that backup role? I got some flack for it, a little bit of flack, maybe some bias, because I like Hendon Hooker. I think he's definitely better than
we know.
Definitely better than Nate Sudfeld, Doc. That's a right assumption. We can all say Nate Sudfeld very fine at helping Jared Goff prepare him for game day, hold the clipboard, be very supportive. But you don't want that man as your backup quarterback. Do you think that this is something that Hendon Hooker can consistently build on? I know you talked to him and he spoke a lot about that in his day-to-day. But do you think this is the start of something, or do you think it'll be more of that learning curve where he'll have ups and downs throughout training camp? Because he already attended OTAs in minicamp, struggled a little bit. I mean, for a guy at his age, Doc, I expect him to not only continue to play better, but to kind of go anywhere but up.
Yeah, no doubt. And guys, check out the photo at Detroit Podcast. That's the look that the players give me when I ask questions, because I don't know if they've been told, or they're definitely aware that they have to be careful what they say, because I may choose a headline or pick apart. Like, I don't take anything out of context, but look how serious he is. And I know with more time we'll develop that rapport. And to let you know, when I turn off the mic, I have a good rapport with the players. There it is.
Look
so
at the
he's
doc, man.
Yes. He's thinking, okay, he's asking me about the offseason. Yeah, exactly. That's the look that I get from all the players, which is, I got to think clearly and concisely what I tell this man, because if I F up, it's going to be definitely documented. But Hendon's great. I just asked him basic questions. I wrote everything I asked him. I asked him, what did you do in the offseason? What did you do in the month off? And he said he talked to Teddy, and Teddy talked to him about, working timing with receivers and commanding a huddle. And I understand what that means, which is, hey, know the cadence, know the exact description of the play. Be confident. You may not know jack shit about how the play is supposed to look, but be confident in what's going on. And I think that, the world of the NFL is great. People react to everything. His OTAs was not great, but that's also a sign for him that he clearly got all the things he needs to work on. And so that was the first experience that he had. Now, people may, are forced to draw some conclusions off of that in real time. But I think that right now, from what we're seeing, he's working with the twos, and he's going to be given every opportunity to earn the backup spot. And you look at it like, if something does happen to Jared Goff, Hendon could probably, the goal will be to kind of keep the ship afloat and don't sink it. But I don't think right now you can say that Hendon can win you a game or is going to come in and be a league superstar like Tom Brady was. But the best part is the Lions are telling you, and you have to accept what they tell you. He's developing, and he's developing daily on a daily basis. But I think that the best way to put it is in a fair assessment of how things are. Brad Holmes has a relationship with Hendon Hooker's father. So do you think that he's going to be third on this depth chart after the time invested and the things that he's going to be given? I think he'll be the number 2 quarterback by the time things shake out at the end of training camp. I think he'll be the backup. And plus, guys, you guys know that if he doesn't, you have that emergency third quarterback rule where he can still, be, a player that's available in game situations. So I do think he's going to be the backup. I think that he's going to take the challenge that he's been given seriously. I think he's very bright, very mature, and he's got the intangibles. He's got the skill set. It's just time on task. And let's see over the next 4 weeks with daily practices, working with better players, more confidence. You saw it today. The zip was there. The execution of what he needed to do was there. If he builds on that, a backup just has to, in this situation, just has to keep the ship afloat. And you're not going to, if something happens to Jared Goff, you're not going to expect Hendon Hooker to lead you to the Super Bowl. I think, you're going to take flack because people are going to say he's raw and he's not that good just yet, and you need veteran experience. But look, backups very rarely just come in and dominate. They just kind of got to, that's why you got a lot of talent around this football team, is that you kind of would hand the ball off a little bit more and kind of shorten the playbook a little bit. But, you could move the football with Hendon Hooker. You could move the football to a degree. I think the one thing you would see is maybe a little bit more turnovers. That would be impactful. But I think that if Hendon Hooker plays with the ones, I think that a lot of quarterbacks would look good with Jamo, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Gibbs, and Montgomery. A lot of them would, including Hendon Hooker. So for those that give you flack about Hendon Hooker, just say you don't trust Brad Holmes to eye quarterback talent and pick somebody that he's going to develop. You don't trust the guy that's picked guys that have been developmental players that start to get better. You don't trust Brad Holmes. Come on, I'm starting to. So if Hendon Hooker is a guy that is, given the nod to be the guy learning from Jared Goff and Nate Sudfeld. Let's go. Let's see what he's about.
It's fair.
Hey, I've got one last question for you, Doc. Here, I know you've had a long day here out at Allen Park, and I'm not
Doc's
sure.
grinding today.
You guys,
Absolute
are you guys out there all week or every?
Okay, here's the
day?
schedule. Yep, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll be there from practice. Typically, is going to ramp up from about 8:30 till 10:30 by the time Friday, Saturday hits, and then you should be getting observations from me around 12:30 after an hour and a half talking to players. So basically, the information hits from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. We'll be going balls to the wall with coverage. And then, later in the day will be more analysis and stuff that's been said by the players. So, and then news about transactions or things like that. But if you're a morning person, sports websites talking about the Lions will be great because Dan Campbell loves his early practices, which is, for an early riser like me, it's good. But it just stinks now because I'm wired. Like, I'm not going to go to bed till like 12. So I got to find a way to kind of get that schedule down. Yeah, that's the tough part.
I do want to ask you this then. I think I know season ticket holders might have a different day, but the public technically will be there next Monday. I think is the first day for the general public that was able to get tickets. Can you just give the people and everyone in the chat who's going, I just want just one thing. Hey, you have to watch out for this battle, watch out for this player. One thing that's like, hey, you cannot miss this. If you're going to training camp next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever it is, make sure you don't miss out watching this player or this battle. Do you have one?
Yeah, the main event. JMO versus Carlton Davis or JMO versus Terrion. Any battle that Terrion has that matches up, you're going to want to see. I want to see. Hopefully they show it. Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Terrion Arnold. Two GOATs trying to establish their supremacy. They're going to battle each other consistently. So you definitely want to pay attention to the main event. You want to see Jameson Williams clearly. I think in the other type battles, you're going to want to see wide receiver 3, Khalif Raymond. You're going to want to pay attention to Donovan Peoples-Jones. You're going to want to pay attention to, if you can find a way to see it. I know sometimes it might be on the far field. The other main event that is the Battle of the Trenches that everybody looks forward to. You know what? I think that the standard PSA that I give is bring some, I guess I have to check to make sure you're allowed to, bring some awesome binoculars, because if you can see Penei Sewell battle Aiden Hutchinson, that is effing amazing. That's hardcore. That's serious when they go and battle in with pads on. It's nice to see because both are trying to win and both are trying to do things. So I'm not sure if I ever saw somebody with binoculars out there, but if you can check and bring them, find a way to be able to see, I think on the far left side of the bleachers, see the line battles. And Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, if you can see it, it's great. But typically, I think what a lot of fans like and you can share with me because I have a different vantage point. I'm kind of tasked with seeing everything and paying attention to a lot of the things. I think the things that's the most fun is the red zone drills. I think when you have the offense at the 3-4 yard line and the defense is trying to stop them, I think that's always fun. People pay attention to that. And clearly the other thing that people are going to pay attention to is, Jake Bates and Michael Badgley when they kick. People definitely want to see the range of Badgley and Jake Bates and see what's going on there. And then I always think that watching the quarterbacks is always great. Watching a pro like Jared Goff is something that is always worthwhile to see. And the other big part that's fun for a lot of the fans is just afterwards, if you stay and be patient and you don't have to rush out of there, a lot of the players will stay and give autographs. So stick around, have a good time with it. The training camp experience is going to be fun. It looks better. You guys are going to love the bleacher seating. The VIP seating is nice too. And then it's just a great opportunity to see the Detroit Lions football team. But you know what's crazy? A lot of people have been messaging. They're like just upset because they feel like a lot of bandwagon fans gobbled up a lot of tickets. And I got a lot of messages today like, dang, I can't go see a team that I supported for the last 4 years. And they used to get training camp tickets pretty easily, and they got gobbled up pretty fast. I had nothing to say but sorry. And it stings. I just wish I could sneak a handful of tickets and just be like, here, I'm going to give them away. But it does show, I'm grateful that I get a chance to be out there. I don't take it lightly. And that's why if you guys ever have any questions you want Dan Campbell asked, send them to me. I might even throw it out there and ask, because I think it's a privilege to be able to, just as a regular person, watch the Detroit Lions and be able to be around a football team that's ascending and is one of the most popular in the league. So, and like I said, I don't take it for granted. Every day I walk through, give support to the security and laugh and say, you guys haven't figured out to throw me out yet? And they always laugh and have a good time. So, it's a blessing. I hope everybody, if you don't get to go this year, next year, get a chance to see them. But in the end, the season's just around the corner. The games are going to start pretty soon, guys. The 7th.
Hey, Hall of Fame game on Thursday.
Maybe
this Thursday?
Next Thursday.
I was like, wow, man.
Hey, Doc, hey, Boone, we could help some of those people. We're going to be giving away some tickets to our chat, but hey,
yes,
we got some extra tickets we want to give away. So maybe we can get in contact with that specific diehard Lions fan and help them out.
Yeah, whoever that was, Doc, if there was someone that reached out who's looking, just let me know. Shoot me a text. I'll send them over to them.
Well, when you see the message, you're gonna have to pick and choose because the vernacular was a little vulgar, but we'll see. We'll see if that person you'll see it, you'll laugh. And thank you to the person. No, it's an honor to be here. It's I appreciate it, Derek. Listen, I'm somebody that understands that I have a privilege and I'm only one of like 10 people that's there. And all I can do is try to give as much relevant information as possible within the rules. So the one thing is maybe I got to just do better at is just kind of a little bit more formations and kind of who's playing where. But I always kind of thought that's not exactly in the rules, is to say, oh, Brian Branch played safety alongside Kirby today. But I get it. I don't think it's all terribly that much news that Brian Branch was playing safety because that's what they said they were going to do. But, I love what you guys love to read. You guys are great. And luckily the blessing is that the criticism has been constructive, asking about this or that in terms of coverage. And I even asked Jeff today, I said, hey, if you guys want to read something, let me know, because I can really tailor a report from training camp in so many different ways. I can look at one player, I can look at one unit, but typically it's just what we see for the day mixed in with a lot of what's being said. So luckily you guys read it. I'm thankful that you keep me in the mix, and I have no problem sharing information with those that want it. It's an honor.
Who's on the podium tomorrow, Doc? Who do you have tomorrow?
Who's on the podium tomorrow? Well, here's the thing, and here's the weakness of my job. Well, we know Dan Campbell will be there at 8, but reporters typically will shoot a text to PR and say, who's going to talk? I don't do that. I kind of like to be surprised. Eventually we'll be walking around PR and someone will say, hey, who's talking? And that conversation will take place, but I don't initiate. I know you could do more planning around stuff like that, but I look at it like I can ask any player, any question, anytime. And, I like to kind of keep it a little bit organic and be a little surprised as to who's going to be there. But usually the first week you might get Goff. I expect a couple more rookies will hit the podium in the next couple of days, maybe even Jake Bates. You never know because he's a new player. But I think that, listen, a lot of players, and at this point, being my ranking, I could start to put in requests for these guys, but I feel like I'm low on the totem pole where they'll be like, the new publication wants this guy, so they get that. I'm like, okay, no, never mind. I don't want to have to, hear the excuses of, oh, this guy doesn't want to talk today. That's like, it's organic. They tell me, and I'm cool with writing whoever they put in front of me.
What a dog. What an absolute dog. He doesn't even care. Doc, anywhere, anytime. He's got a question. That's why we love you, Doc. We appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you.
Your ass today.
Let's go,
and
Doc.
I want to say this, and just to let you guys know, okay, because this is, if you think I'm greedy or you think whatever, I want to say this. I have the right for any story for the past 5 years. I have the right to put any story behind a paywall. I have the right. I'm in control of it. I could start a subscription newsletter, do what others do, but I've always said this, the fan base of Detroit, if I can do anything possible to keep it all free, that's what I'll do. And you've supported me. Yes, you've supported me 1,000%. This show, the chat, I don't, and I don't knock anybody that does that. I understand that's the way you get support and your services need to be paid for. But I will just say, if you're looking for free, excellent Detroit Lions content, come visit. And I think you'll be given enough information to be in the know. I will keep it as long as humanly possible. I don't want you to subscribe to me. I don't want to place a monetary value other than come visit, watch the videos, engage in the process, message me, message the chat, message you guys, and I will keep it free for as long as humanly possible. But remember, I was given the key to say, hey, yeah, if you want to start subscribing, you want to take a story that like you want to take the talk you had with Hendon and make people pay for it. I said to the bosses, I said, as long as humanly possible, as long as the support is at this level, I will keep it free for the great citizens of Detroit. Free. All the insights, all the videos, all the insights that I get from there will be free as long as humanly possible, which is probably going to be for the next several years.
Look at you, Doc. It's probably love you're real, you're authentic,
free.
And you're real.
I don't need your email. I don't need any subscriptions. Just come visit and watch the videos.
There you go. You can check his stuff out. Link will be in the description. Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated for all your Detroit Lions news, especially with training camp. You're going to want to check it out. And Crunch Time for your video form content. And for audio, you got Crunch Time. You got Detroit Sports Podcast. Check out John's stuff. John, we appreciate you. We'll catch you next Wednesday. Keep up the great work.
Legend.
Hey, you're going to be a busy man, Doc, in the future. After all this, a little bit quiets down, at least a day of the weekend. We'll get back on the course. We'll try to figure out a day. But until then, keep up the great work. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I look forward to next week. I can't wait.
Let's do it. There you go.
Appreciate you, Doc. Let's go.
Doc.
Oh, he's gone.
I told you, he's a flash. You know, he's just it's Doc. You know, it's a bird. It's a plane. It's John Maakaron. It's Doc.
John Maakaron with Hendon Hooker.
It's like it's just he's special, man. You know what's crazy? When this first started, we asked John because I had a prior employer. I used to have John on every week, and you remember that, Klotz. We used to have John on all the time. And he's such a real one. I mean, he joins every week. He doesn't ask for nothing. He just comes on. We show love to what he's doing, and the man just spits for a good hour. So we appreciate him for that. Shout out to him.
He's a legend. The Doc's a legend, man. I appreciate him. Shout out to him too for is doing that for the fans, man. Making it free and everything.
Could easily be a paywall. I mean,
for
with his content, easily. I see a lot of fans from other teams in the chat. You guys are bickering. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, keep coming, man.
Sports are about. It's about fans arguing. We argue, and we all share the same fandom. But we appreciate all the new faces out there. Welcome to the show. There are a lot of Lions fans. You're already at a disadvantage. So you're coming in. You're fighting. And I appreciate that. Even though we have different teams we root for, the fact that you're in a live stream for the Lions and Detroit sports coverage, I applaud you. I'm going to be honest, boys.
It's going to be a battle this year, too.
I don't watch a single thing, really, besides national. But I don't really check out any other content as related to at least local, besides Detroit and Michigan, obviously. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to have other people in other whether it's an argument or not. Like I love like going at each other's heads. Like that's the point of sports, right? Like having people to where you can go back and forth with. So I'm all in for it.
Yeah, the chat's been spitting for like an hour. They've been
cracking me up. Funny. Well, we're gonna get to mailbag, so please. Any questions you guys have? I mean, even
literally, honestly, I would say mailbag today though. Like any training camp questions, like it's day one. Like we are back. Detroit Lions are back. Anything you want us to talk about, anything, just drop it there. We'll answer any question.
Yeah, I would say stop.
Shout out.
Stop the show. Shout out Roman.
Roman is a legend.
Any of the loyal people that have been watching us for a while, and even people that are joining that are fresh faces. Roman is the backbone of this entire operation. He cooks everything. We love him.
Roman built. We're in it right now.
We'll go to war for Roman. You mess with Roman, you're messing with the boys. All right, that's a fact. So Roman, shout out to you, man. He's always tuning in. I don't know if Roman knows. YouTube accusing us of something. Roman demonetized. It is what it is. Some adversity, but with Roman's help, we've gotten to this point. So we appreciate him. So shout out to Roman. W Roman, man.
Roman and Roman. Me and BMG are gonna be hitting you up with some more design ideas that we got for you. And obviously, you cook what you think is best. We got some ideas that can maybe just turn into your brainstorm, but we got some ideas for you.
Yeah, we're going to bring – that man is our full-time employee at one point. We're bringing him at some point. I mean, he is an absolute dog. So appreciate you, Roman.
On a W.
Roman Empire, as some would say. I mean, that's just – it's different.
All should say.
Yeah, check out his stuff, man. Revive Graphics on all social media platforms.
Does a great job.
Yeah, he's one of one, literally. And I don't say that. He's one of one, no doubt. Let's get to some questions. Derek, what happened to memberships? We love you. Want to support you guys. Derek, I appreciate it. We love you for that. Like I said, I was saying to Roman, and I said this earlier, but I'll say it for you, Derek, because I think people deserve to know. YouTube accusing us of reusing content. It's stupid, and they're demonetizing us. We're trying to appeal. So we're going to wait and see their decision. Worst case scenario, it's going to be a couple months, probably 2 to 3 months without memberships and without super chats and without monetization, which, it is what it is. We're still going to make great content. We're still going to be consistent. We're still going to be providing you guys with all Detroit sports coverage, but there won't be memberships. So it's going to pause it in your account. You won't be charged. You can cancel it. You don't have to. And then come October, it'll resume. So just stay patient, Derek.
Hopefully, maybe not October, maybe like a couple weeks. Who knows?
Yeah. And at the worst, I know we were talking about it before the show, fellas, but if you guys do want to support, I mean, I think we were going to do it regardless, but we're going to set up a Patreon too, and we'll be putting up content from here as well as exclusive content that we're not going to be recording on here. We'll put on there probably like $10, something like that. Again, you don't have to do it, but if you do want to support, that's definitely be a good way. We'll get some more info on that as it goes on as well, though.
Yeah, and YouTube, I mean, I see this YouTube stinks. I wish there was a legit competitor. I mean, yeah, YouTube, a lot of things being said about YouTube, but yeah, there isn't really a legit competitor to YouTube. I mean, Rumble is a competitor, nowhere near as big as YouTube. So, what they say goes. Didn't even give the boys a warning. They just said, Kazam, you're demonetized. Good luck. All right.
What you can't support right now, though, is hit the like button. Push us in the algorithm more. The more we get exposure, when we get that monetization back, it'll be even better.
Yeah, bring back dislikes, by the way. Yeah, I didn't even forgot about that. Yeah, YouTube just got rid of dislikes, and it is what it is. But again, we appreciate you guys. That's why there's no membership. So it's gonna look a little different, but be patient with us. Roman says y'all got to put up a Cash App tag or something. No Cash App. How you can support us is buying the merchandise that Roman does help cook. Absolutely.
Buy the merch and watch the boys.
CTsports.com. And follow us and support everything just in terms of what you guys do. Tuning into live shows supports us, growing the channel. That's what helps. We don't want, GoFundMe or anything like that, or Cash App or anything. Like, you guys keep that. Just continue to support us. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's
Spread
really
the word. Spread the word.
Yes. Yep. Well, fellas, there's questions and we've been distracted. Okay, let's by the way, Mr. Detroit City, absolute legend. I've been reading. He's been on a tear today.
Yeah, he's been going to war. Laced up the boots. He's in the trenches today.
Yeah, that guy up north says Mailbag. Do you think Skipper or Sorsdale will be the first one off the bench swing tackle this season? Skipper has had it locked down for a while.
I don't know. I'm going to say Skipper right off the bat just because I know Colby was brought into the league as a guard, but as he develops more at tackle, I think he will take that Skipper role. I think that's definitely their vision for him. At least, unless Manu just develops freakishly fast, which I don't think is going to happen because I think that's the swing tackle that you want to have. Right. But for the foreseeable future, at least down the road, I think it's Skipper now and then Sorsdale take it over.
Yeah, I think it's going to be situationally too. Like Skipper, I think Sorsdale's going to Skipper's going to be able to do things Sorsdale can't do, in my opinion. Yeah. I feel like they're two different guys a little bit. Obviously, they can't be that different, but I do think it's a little bit different. So Skipper's still going to get some run in some different situations, but I think Sorsdale will be like Graham last year. Like Skipper was obviously a piece here and there, but Sorsdale will end up being like the Graham Glasgow. It'll be either Sorsdale or Christian Mahogany. So one of the two.
The Hog.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Colby should 100%. Be the guy. Colby should. These comments are good, but yeah, Colby Sorsdale should be the first one. I mean, it depends. I like Skip. Skip's got heart, but I think Colby has more potential, and I think he could honestly right now could be the better player. Even though we love Skip, but maybe if you're bringing out like a jumbo package, you bring out Skip. He's a massive human being, but if someone goes down, I probably want Colby in there. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is that fair? Okay, that's fair. Shout out Adam, by the way. It does not work for us. Does not work for us, but he supports us, and that's all that matters. Love that.
And that's
man.
Perfectly legal.
Yeah, some would try and argue even watching content is illegal, but no, he is. We love that man, so appreciate him for that. Coach Walk 37, is it true you're creating your own beer for Sundays? I wish
we might create our own Kool-Aid for Sunday.
That'd be sick.
The only beer we'll have is the ones that Booner will be, smashing.
And if anyone has a sponsor, let me know. I'd love to be. We would love for our parties to be sponsored. Our watch parties.
Give Boone some IPAs. That's what he needs.
Oh
no IPAs.
Boone hammered off the IPAs for the Kool-Aid chug.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking content, Boone.
You saying that just makes me want to take the CPO off right now. IPAs. What are we
Makes
doing
you look
here?
like a man. Makes you
Have you hung out with me at all?
Booner, I understand that, but this is for content. This isn't for hanging out.
No one cares about IPAs. I drink Dan Campbell drinks.
More money in the
Coors
IPA
Light.
business, Booner. Wake up. Wake up.
What does Dan Campbell do? Coors Light.
Yes.
Hey,
we don't change. We don't change for the money.
So you're always just
we're the same person.
Are you always a Coors Light guy? I don't think so.
When it comes to Detroit Lions Sundays.
All right, fine.
Hey, Coach Walk says, I know a guy who knows a guy. Hey, you gotta know. I mean, hey, he knows a guy who knows a guy who potentially knows a guy. So that's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. You know what? It'd be cool to get your own like liquor crunch time, vodka crunch time, whiskey whatever it is. I think that'd be.
We'll go on our McGregor route.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Copyright that crunch time beer. I don't know how we'd phrase that, but we're copyrighting that. Don't steal that. Don't steal that. Don't do it. Boys, you know what? I just want to say this. I am so excited. Before we get to more questions, I got to say this because I'm ramped up. You know, the YouTube stuff and all this stuff. You know what I keep thinking about? We're going to training camp. We are going to training camp. I cannot wait to be there. We won't be there next week, but we'll be there. Well, will we? Not next week, right? The end of
next week we'll be there, right?
Will we?
It's next week. Next Wednesday. Next
Friday,
Wednesday and Thursday.
So we won't be there Monday, Tuesday. We'll be there Wednesday.
It's next Wednesday, Thursday. Next Wednesday and Thursday.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Well, I'm gonna try and get some stuff we could bring. We'll obviously be wearing the merchandise, which you guys can go purchase and wear the merchandise if you so choose to training camp. But I wish we could do a live show. Tyler asked, no. The only people that do live shows there, I think, at this point are 97.1, and they have a partnership. So maybe
can we do one of the let's hit one in the parking lot. What are they going to do? Are they going to come out there and say, "Hey, knock it off, boys"?
Hey, I mean,
that is true.
Potentially. Mm-hmm. You could do it right from the van. You have like a van. Do it out the van, and if they ask for we're in the van,
undercover van.
We'll literally right at the entrance. We'll set up a table.
Send up a drone.
Yeah. Hey, we're in our property, on your property, but we're still in our property.
One-on-one. Just get a drone down in there, pull it before they can even do anything about it. Fly it back. We got the footage.
With that, I wonder what they would do. I mean, if the team probably could do. I mean, if I'm trying to cheat, I'd probably fly a drone. It's like Bill Belichick record.
Dude, they probably have like the Army shoot it down or something.
They got their own secret service.
Imagine that you just we'll fly a drone and just get a view of the entire.
That's actually kind of a good idea.
Hey, they'll probably definitely. I don't know if they'll shoot it down, but I don't know how else you're going to get it down.
Maybe have Nate Sudfeld throw the clipboard at it.
I think he'd miss. Yeah,
doesn't have the arm strength.
Dude, it's way too high too, dude. A drone goes so high.
I think he'd miss. I'm gonna be honest.
I think we have an idea, boys. Head over to Chicago. Mm-hmm. That's what we got to do. We'll go undercover for the Lions. We can make that content.
Tyler said DPJ will jump up and catch it.
Willie Booner?
Yeah. DPJ will jump up and get that. It's fair. Mm-hmm. Steve says they probably have a signal jammer. Jails have those. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it works now with like we're 2024 with training camp. Like, especially with like reporting, and then like John said, you can't release like certain packages and how they're lining up and what they're running. Like you can't really say too much because then your teams will be. I'm sure there's like sicko coaches that are reading other people's media, like Packers, whatever, Bears, checking out.
They probably do. Everyone on staff around the NFL, I'm sure, has like a team that just is like dedicated to looking online for stuff like constantly.
You think so?
Oh, dude, 100%. Like looking at the JMO videos, like bringing all these things in, and they probably each team has a file. And I'm sure like the coaches might not look at it, but I'm sure like there's like people within the scouting department, different places that are helping with scouting for each week. Like I'm sure each,
some intern is just dialed in reading doc stuff.
100%, dude. At that level of football, if you're not doing that, like, dude, they look at everything, bro. Like you got to think about it too. A lot of these teams, like players might get cut, things might happen. Like they have people out there looking at every training camp to see like how is a player, like what is he like guys. So if they get cut, like, hey, do you want to bring a guy in? So they're dialed into other training camps, I'm sure.
What if we attend the Packers training camp? We scout. We go
That's
in
what
there,
I'm saying. We
go
go
into enemy territory, and we just check it out, see how things are
I
going.
don't. Yeah, I guess so. And we could just do like a show on it, and we don't have to like send it. But like, hopefully, Dan Campbell. It sounds like Dan Campbell watches our show. Maybe Dan will watch that show, and he'll be like, "Oh, we just got some good information from these fellas."
And then you get brought in. That's how we get Boone into the organization. Maybe long snapper. We'll figure it out at a later date. But Well, we'll wear some cheese heads, like Tyler said. We'll blend in.
Yeah.
We'll walk up to people, just start saying names. We'll just start yelling names out and act like we've been there before and ask playbook questions.
I'll make some green Kool-Aid or something.
No, I can't do that. Too far.
I won't drink it. I won't drink it, but we got to fit in a little bit,
It's fair.
You can't break the Kool-Aid's for the Lions, Boone.
It's exclusive. Dan Campbell wouldn't like that, Boone, if he saw that. I don't know if he'd like that.
You got to bring like a cheese grater or something. I don't know. Different prop. Yeah. Maybe a block of cheese. Let's carry on a cheese block the whole time.
Mr. Detroit City Mailbag, Jeff Bleacher hair, Slim Shady style like Joey B. Did you see Joe Burrow's new haircut?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It's whatever. Like, it's a fucking dude's hair. Like, I'm not going to go in depth about what I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could care less, but it's just, I saw that trending around Twitter. I know I'm not dyeing my hair. Screw that. We're not doing that. I'll cut it, not dyeing it. That guy up north says we might lose Lucas if you go to Green Bay's camp. He's already compromised as a Buckeye. Lucas, you're on the stand.
I will never be a Packers fan. The Packers are my least favorite team in the NFL, and it's close with the Cowboys, but the Packers definitely had it. I mean, those were the guys that would just, like the Thursday night game when Aaron Rodgers threw that Hail Mary has just been implanted as like it's a trauma from my childhood. And I don't think it's anything I could ever forget. And then like during just the gloomy days of like the Lions, when you had Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, like you'd go to games and a couple games were against the Packers. Like they're just running their mouth obnoxiously. It's like, what do you expect to happen? You're playing the Detroit Lions right now and they're acting like they're fucking king of the hill. It just
you're arrogant, especially because you hate Matt LaFleur. You hate Aaron Rodgers.
I do.
Well, you respect him, but you hate him.
Respect him as a Packer. He was
Jordan Love, you didn't believe until recently when he showed you. But you've been against the Packers. I mean, I don't think I'm with you. I'm defending you there. I don't think you wouldn't jump ship. It's fair.
Hey,
Buckeyes, you can't help. Hey, you're born there. You're already poisoned. You're a Buckeye. It's fair.
We go to Indy, we could have some issues, but
you hate LeBron, but continue. Makes no sense.
By the way, the San Francisco 49ers, I don't know if you guys saw the news tonight. I don't know if it broke while we were or just before we went on the show or how early it broke. They obviously have a Brandon Ayuk holdout right now. Another one that has came out, Trent Williams holding out from camp, not at practice this week.
He saw Panay get paid.
It looks like I just saw. I saw Mike Garofalo just tweeted out and said on their episode of the Insiders tonight, a trade request on and hold in from Brandon Ayuk, which is a hold in. He's at practice, but he's not playing. He's choosing not to play. But Trent Williams is a hold out. He's looking for a bump and some guarantees over the next few seasons and has not been at practice. That's crazy. Like Trent Williams,
he wants to get paid like a.
There's problems in San Francisco.
No doubt. Well, there's no problems here besides YouTube just hating on us. But other than that, the people, we appreciate you. It was a great show today. Good turnout. Thanks to John for joining. Just spitting like he always does every single Wednesday at 8:45. And thank you guys for your constant support. Just be patient. I know YouTube giving us some issues. We'll work through it. Content does not stop. Greatness does not stop. Still do the same thing. Keep paving the way here. Keep growing. We're trying to get to 10K regardless, and we're on our way. We're about 1,300 away at this point, a little under. So big time. Until tomorrow, for more
Love you guys.
training camp coverage. We'll catch you guys. Stay safe out there.
Peace.
We'll see you. Deuces.
Peace.